again
Back
with
back
another
again.
episode
Yes, sir.
of Escaping the Success Podcast.
And I am Tom Leffer, one of the co-hosts, and this is my co-host.
Adedire.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, guys and gals. So today we'll be discussing managing stress.
Yep, techniques that we use or pitfalls that things we've tried doing in the past, like what we thought might work, but might like what currently works for us that we think might work or it might change, because we are in different seasons of life right now.
Yes, we are.
I'm in my work season, and you're in your dad's season.
Yeah, I'm very much so not as I'm not as busy in terms of like stress. You know, there's not a lot of stimulus in terms of stress in my life right now.
Because you're not viewing it, I think, as stress. Some other people from the outside perspective might view that as stress.
That's
so I
possible.
think you have a healthy viewpoint because you're like,
possible.
because I think people would think being up all night with your son crying and taking care of your daughter and your son and being dad might be a stressful situation.
That's possible.
But I feel like how you're kind of frameworking it, it's not stressful.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that kind of might be a technique for handling stress. It might be like, hey, this is challenging, but I don't view it as stress. Like
That's very possible.
It's your mindset around it.
That's true.
So actually, I would like to dive deeper in that. So you said like, hey, for example, last night when I came in, you're like, yeah, I was, you know, my son, me and you and your wife were up a little late, diving into that and like how, because I that is quote unquote stress, but you're not. I think the beautiful thing is you're not viewing it as stress.
Yeah, I mean it depends, right? So I mean my son now he's like close to 8 weeks, so it's not as him being up at night is not as a disturbance because like we know that. You know, he's older now, so like, you know, sometimes kids just want to get picked up, right? So they may just be uncomfortable and they don't know how to voice out their discomfort, so they cry. Sometimes after a minute or two it goes away, but if it persists, then it's like, all right, I had to pick him up. So when I picked him up, it was nothing. I thought it was something, but, you know, because I was like, all right, he's been crying now for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, I don't know. Like, you know, it's just off and on. So I was like, let me just pick him up, see what's going on. He just fell asleep as I picked him up. So he just fell asleep on my chest, which you shouldn't do because you don't want your child to be used to sleeping on you. Because when they sleep on you, they're going to want to sleep on you all the time. And it's very hard to, like, do the dishes, cook, do cleaning around the house with your child strapped to your chest.
I think you should do you have one of those things?
Yeah, but it's very difficult to do a lot of things around the house. Nor is it, like, sustainable as the child gets bigger.
No, it's good to be a weight vest for you.
Yeah, it's true, that's true. But
do some squats.
You really don't want to do that though. It's very much though like a no, because it just makes your life harder. Because there's certain things that you can't do. Like if you're like cleaning the toilet and you have all the or the bathroom with all those aerosols. And stuff like
100%.
that. But it's like that's why it's good to have your child independent in a way that they can just like lay down and be still. Like they can look at the ceiling or just be okay on their own as long as it's warm and they're comfortable. So, but no, man, I don't really see it as stress because it's something that obviously very passionate about being a parent. And there's some people who don't have paternity leave and they're doing what I'm doing and still having to go to work in the morning. So at least I have a nice runway to set a good schedule. I don't know, man. I feel like another way to look at it is I'm getting paid to take care of my family, which is like a very unique situation, you know? Because normally you still have to provide for your family and take care of them at the same time. So
and I think what is paramount through that, and like just my viewpoint, is your mindset around it.
Yeah.
Because even somebody who's on like maternity leave, like a male, female, doesn't really matter. They might be like, oh, like this is so hard, like this is work I have to do, like this is, this is stressful, it's hard, and it is those things. But again, you're looking at the situation like appreciating like, hey, I'm being paid to take care of my family.
100%, right?
And like you're looking for the positives and everything. I think that is what's so important is through every situation find the positives. If you can do that, it makes your life, I believe, so much better. Your appreciation and gratitude, and like through even the quote unquote someone might view as a difficult situation, lack of sleep, a lot of time, a lot of energy, like, all that stuff you're doing is like, no, like I get to do this. I'm getting paid to do this. Of course. I can be fully present with my family. It's a beautiful thing.
And like, bro, if you didn't even consider the long run, it's like, all right, so this kid, I mean, he's only going to be in this state for a very short period of time. Most of his life, he's actually going to be self-reliant. So it's like, it's just getting past this season and understanding that like, this is really only the true time that I get to be his 100% caretaker, So it's like, it's just that simple. But like obviously, it's also good that I'm not a single father, so I have my wife as well. So we have like we help one another out. I would definitely say that my wife does a lot more than I do, just because of the sheer nature of how active I am.
Shout out to
yeah. Because I like to spend time with my friends, and I don't know, I'm the one who goes out to get the groceries and stuff so that by transit property she's staying with the baby more. So but I try to do things to like mitigate like the amount of workload she has by like my daughter's been over at my parents' house for the last 2 days. So like the baby, although he could be demanding, he is very predictable. He either eats, he changes diaper, or he just wants to be like just cuddled a little bit, right? But my daughter, her needs are a little bit more complex. Not to mention, she could also climb in the baby crib to try to be cute with her brother and like hurt him. So like there's also that. So it's very difficult for her to get a nap midday when the baby is sleeping, with my daughter running around the house, or more especially running around the room and opening up all the cabinets and pulling everything out, and I don't know, like put it like taking icy hot, put it on her face, like there's so many things. Exactly. So I think that's really a lot of people. My mom always used to say that like the baby's not the thing; it's your daughter. She's the one you need to keep an eye on, because the baby can't move anywhere. The baby can't crawl.
And he'll cry if something's wrong.
Yeah, but he can't move. But your daughter, you don't look at her for a second. Yeah,
the 2-year-old
like
is
like a minute, and you see her. The house is quiet. She can be anywhere in this house, So
no, that's interesting.
Very interesting. So, and the plan is to obviously have more. So I'm taking this experience with a grain of salt, because it's not the be all end all, but it's another data point for or another form of experience for like the next child to come. But I already feel a lot better with the second one, so I can only imagine what the third would be like, given that, I would have already had 2 different types of experiences already.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's very predictable, man. It's not a lot. It's if you feed and you hold them right and you burp them, they're gonna fall asleep. So you should probably change their diaper before you feed them, so that they can sleep in peace. Because if you change a baby's diaper while they're sleeping, it's gonna wake them up. So you're gonna have to find there's a system. There's a system to it. Yeah.
So. I was actually fortunate enough to witness my first diaper change.
Oh, with me?
Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't know that was your first diaper change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I taught you the prelay method.
You get all the wipes out.
You put the diaper under the diaper he's wearing. Then you wipe, and then you just pull the diaper out, and it's just instantly done. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Seamless. That was easy. Very professional diaper change.
Very simple.
Definitely got his reps in.
I've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
Talking to 8 to 12 a day, so it's like it's very consistent. But no, in terms of managing stress though, like how have you been? What would you say are big stressors in your life currently? And really dive into detail and like why you feel like there's stress, and how does the stress manifest itself throughout the week?
So I guess right now the stress that I experience is kind of just a lot of things that have to get done, or if I'm like doing something, like say physically, because like I still am physically doing stuff at the pools, but I'm also in charge of running the show, so I could be physically doing something and I'm getting phone calls. This really usually happens more during the week, because our property managers, GMs, they have normal Monday through Friday type thing. So for example, I was at the pool Thursday, Friday. It's interesting. It's Monday through Thursday are heavy days with calls, and Fridays not so much, because people are probably in the office, they kind of it's Friday maybe in the morning, but after 1 you really can't get a hold of anybody. Then the weekends the phone really dies down. Besides my internal team, so external calls in the sense of property managers, general managers, just talking about work needing to get done, proposals, contracts, all that stuff. So. The challenging part is when I'm there at a physical location trying to do manual work, and then my phone starts ringing and I'm trying to answer the phone, or with my laptop I send this email or send a proposal for work that's get done. So it's just the stress is I enjoy actually the manual side of things of pulling a cover, power washing, that's cathartic, peaceful for me. The stressful part is when I'm trying to do those things and then I'm getting a call, I have to step away, I can't really hear them, I have to step away, I have to pull my laptop, I have to send a proposal real quick for the work that has to be done at the pool. So it's the behind the scenes type stuff that accumulates on top of like managing like just like the business side of things, but also the external calls coming in and just like, you know, like, oh, like you have to do this work, you update this like job, like we need like a better, more specification on what has to be done here. So just a lot of things going on because like it'd be, and again, I try not to view it as stress. One thing that I'm in 2 different coaching groups. One's like Mindset Mentor with Rob Dial. One of the, honestly, about mindset, one of the most profound like groups I've been part of, and then another one through Tony Robbins. I'm doing a live event. I had, with the live event came like 3 coaching calls, and I actually decided to extend that because it's been paramount. Because like shout out to my guy Mickey, who's like my I guess like
coach mentor.
Yeah. So 3 sessions came with it, like me booking a live event, but I decided to like extend the coaching, to buy more coaching because I saw
value in it.
So much value because our coaching calls are like once a week, and like these, but he would like leave the calls. Okay, what's 1 or 2 actionable items you're gonna do before our next call? So it's like I have 1,000 things I need to get done, like in improving the business or myself. But he's like, what's 1 or 2? And that for me is like, I can do 1 or 2. That's easy. But I think I get overwhelmed or stressed by like the 1,000 things that when you run a business or own a business, there's 1,000 things that have to get done. But it's like, okay, what are the 1 or 2 big things you can do? And like, I can do 1 or 2 things in a week. Like that's nothing. Like so, I saw just a profound impact of like, okay, just consistently calls 3 weeks, and I made like 1 or 2 changes. So I made 6 changes that like moved the needle. And like I'm like, whoa, that's you know, like I was like, I see the 1,000 changes that need to be done, but like I already made 6 versus like me just like trying to do a little bit of each change. Like
nothing gets done. Everything's on 2%.
So I'm like this. I saw the value right there. I'm like, I gotta continue this because she'll keep me accountable.
So why is it that you have 1,000 things to do? Like what? How
like
does that?
Just to improve like 1,000 like things like in the business sense of like, okay, I'm trying to go from business operator to business owner, trying to put like procedures in place. Like so, I guess there's like the admin side of the business. I'm getting a new updating a new like scheduling system for my business. I'm trying to, then I have to teach people how to use the scheduling system. I'm doing the onboarding. I have to schedule calls for that. I'm also in the process of like contracts, like following up with clients, like making sure we sign these contracts or we're not continuing the contracts. And then there's like tax season coming up, so I got to meet with the accountant, like go through all that stuff. And then I'm actually physically opening pools. I got to send proposals for work at the pools. There's just, it's hard to, and then like,
it's a lot of stuff.
And then even my internal, like my team, like, okay, so I have employees and like, okay, one of them is like, you know, applying for like a mortgage. I have to show that I pay for like his like truck, or I got to show like bank statements that like I cover his stuff.
Pull all this stuff out.
There's so many, it's endless, which is a good thing because like I like the stimulus, I like the action, but it's not just cut and dry like 1 or 2 tasks. Like, okay, physically,
and they're so random. Like they're not connected.
Not
you pulling up the records of payments for his truck has nothing to do with the proposals you're doing, which also has nothing to do with the manual labor that you are doing before you got these calls in succession.
Yeah, and also
and you're literally cleaning a pool, and he calls you, "Hey man, I need this," and then the pool over in so and so needs this, and you're like, and it's like, how do you prioritize that, right? So,
and that's exactly it. There's like something. Then I'm also trying to create like a work order system internally within the business to help track like the costs on a per pool basis. So it's okay. I know it has to get done, but it's like, okay, making sure that they do. So it's a lot of things. But that's when you're a CEO of a business. Like if you're a pre-established business, like the key is, I realize, like for high-level positions, it's not necessarily that they have any different skill set.
Just decision making.
It's just being decisive, stress management, and just being able to stay cool and calm in the storm. Because, like again, during the summer, I'm trying to manage like. Again, I'm also trying to outsource these things. Like I hired an HR person, but like, okay, I'm submitting payroll. That's one day I might have to be physically at location managing, but I'm also dealing with like a general manager complaint here. I'm also dealing with a lifeguard not showing up at a pool here. I'm also like making sure that I have enough, my payments are coming in so I could actually fund the payroll. So it's like, you're being pulled in so many different directions. And so one thing, because stress is inevitable with this business, when you're a business owner, it's inevitable. I'm trying to change the story.
Yeah.
Because the last 26, 27 years of my life, the story was around pool season.
This is
we
just
don't
the
have
worst
summers.
part of your life.
We don't have summers. This is awful. We just got to get through from whatever, from March to October. We just got to get through it. This is hell. It is what it is. We don't have holidays, or we don't have summers. This is like, this is what it is. But I'm like, and that's, again, the coaching call. I'm like, again, speaking out loud, talking about it, it's like, so I've been working about changing the story, my identity as a person. Why don't I change the story around the business?
100%, dude.
And so I literally wrote out, I'm like, okay, the pool season is stimulating. It is a way for me to grow and develop and challenge me as a person.
Yeah.
It is a season of, like, I get to be outside. I get to be around, like, I love my guys that I work with. Like, they're real, loyal, trustworthy, like, great dudes. Like, I'm like, I enjoy, like, going out. Like, my favorite part, actually, is now this time of year, like, being out with my guys.
Being in the trenches, yeah.
If all I had to do was just go, like, power wash, flip covers, like shovel dead raccoons, like, that's fun. Like, with the guys, like, we're joking, like, just guys being dudes. Like, that's the enjoyable part. It's the, okay, well, I'm in there, I gotta take calls, or I come home at night and I have to do 2 or 3 hours of answering emails, like, sustaining the operations, worrying about, like, okay, I gotta make sure I have enough contracts and, like, money coming in to fund these guys' salaries, to like, keep their lifestyle, because, like, they have families. Like, so it's that stuff that is the stress.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
We mentioned your sister the last time.
Yes.
How, she has a certain skill set. She opted not to be part of the business.
Correct.
She has some strong suits. But she's also in a season of life that things are changing as well, right?
Correct.
Have you considered having a conversation with her around, hey, like, what would it look like for you to support me in certain certain time, and like what that would look? Because I feel like if you were to delegate, I don't know, 10% or 20%, like a workload that she can still carry on with what she's doing. But then the question begets itself of, like, given her current full-time position, how much does that demand of her during her day and stuff like that? Because that's the tough thing. Because then you'd probably have to offer a full-time position, right? 100%. In order for it to fully be lucrative.
Make her worth her while. Because she was in the season, only I'd probably say up until probably like 2 years ago, she was in, like, executive, like, going, like, she was a high-end in her company, she had her own consulting company, like, work, fitness, like, that was her life. And, like, but then...
So she does consult.
She has a consulting business, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so she was all in on that. Yeah. And then she kind of, I think, again, especially, I think this is a thing, my personal opinion, I think a lot of females go through, especially in today's day and age, like, where they're told that the most important thing is your job.
Yeah.
The most important thing is how much money you have. The most important thing in your life is your career, all that thing. And I think a lot of women, unfortunately, sometimes too late, they realize, like, they're 30, 35, 40, like, I've been told this lie that my career, my job, like, being a high earner is the most important thing in my life. And they're like, actually, I think I want a family and kids and stuff. And unfortunately for females, like, they have a biological clock. I mean, you can still adopt and do those things,
but yeah, you do have a biological clock.
Luckily with us, we don't have a biological clock.
Yeah.
So I think she realized, like, I think probably the last, like, 2 years, like, because she was all in at work. Like, she was working out, like, just, taking care of herself and, like, career mindset. And she's, like, at a point now where she's, like, she doesn't want to work. I mean, she still works. She works hard.
She doesn't really. That's not her identity.
She's not her identity.
She's more family oriented. She understands that, like, deeper relationships actually are better in the long run than just, like, superficial work relationships or being viewed as a effective employee or executive,
leader or whatever. Yeah. So
maybe this is a time to write up a proposal and see if you can. You can draw her over, because then she could potentially work from home too. She probably was already working from home. Probably
she only goes in the office once a week. So she works pretty much like remotely. But she has a great schedule now. I don't think, again, I think she really does enjoy what she does.
Or at least have her come in and consult and just do a full analysis of the business.
Because she's more intelligent than I am, and she'd be much better at I guess like systematizing things and being more organized than I am.
So maybe you bring her in as a consultant, like, hey, is there any chance we can do some side where you do a full consulting? That these are some ideas I have. Yeah. Sorry, could you do a full review of the business just to give some ideas on how we can better organize? Because I think you asking her directly might not be a good idea.
No.
But I think her looking at it and then putting a proposal, but how do you suggest I fix this? Like,
Well, that's actually something too. Again, the coach and some of my other buddies, like the challenge was like, I wrote out all the phases of the business, like on big whiteboard paper, and I wrote out all like the problems, and so now anyone can see like what's in here, they can see it all laid out.
Yeah.
So I do have to share that with her and get her viewpoint on it. The issue again arises is I'm conscious, like I'm not in a season of my life where I can be like, okay, like I have free time, like let's sit through these problems. Like I'm in the season right now where it's like, okay, that was December, January, February, but now it's like I have to go to war. Like I'm in the battle right now.
Yeah.
I'm not behind the scenes like laying out like I have like you move your chest pieces.
Of course.
I'm in the trenches, so I'm trying to be conscious of in the trenches, but asking the questions like, how would this look like if it was easier?
Yeah.
Like how could I have done this better? Or how can I do this better? Or how can I systematize this? Or what would this look like if it was easier?
What makes sense for me to roll out during this season too? Because there's certain things that you should roll out during that wartime. There's certain things you should not roll out.
Yeah, because I got 2 new things going on right now.
Because if something is hard for you to implement, it's gonna be hard for your employees to adopt.
100%.
So it's like if you find like even the implementation is difficult, imagine how difficult it is for your employees to adopt that stuff. So on top of their workload as well. So
and that's a challenge. And like I'm already implementing 2 new things currently while I'm in the trenches. Like I'm implementing this new scheduling system that integrates with my current payroll system, which I'm excited about. And I also just brought on like a marketing person to help me recruit like lifeguards.
Yep.
And then honestly, it's mostly just to recruit internally, but then also build like my online presence, and then externally, once I have my internal like pool, I have more lifeguards. Hey, 15 to 21, and you live in the New Jersey area, I'm hiring.
Literally.
But seriously, I'm hiring. If you could swim, I'm hiring. So, but again, more of a better pipeline of like managers, lifeguards, so that I feel comfortable to externally expand. Because I'm not comfortable yet externally expanding too much because I don't have like I don't know infrastructure in place. Like I know like okay, if I spend $10 on ads for new guards, I get 1 guard per $10. I have to set. So I'm trying to systematize a way of okay, I know if I spend $10 on ads, I get 1 guard. So it's like okay, if I spend $1,000, then I get 100 guards.
Yep.
So that's how if I have those numbers. So that's
and then these 100 guards. What's the attrition rate? How long do they stay? Exactly. How many of them are reliable?
All these things, and that's why I hired an outside company to track that. Because like I wasn't again for so long. I had because my father had this. It was all
one man
army.
How did you recruit back then for lifeguards?
Well, he was a teacher. He was a teacher at Washington Hills High School, and so he would. I mean, my dad could sell water to a whale. He's a great salesman. Like, and that's something I'm lucky. I'm great at too. And I'm not leveraging that skill yet because I don't want to grow yet. But I know if I get in front of you, I'm like, hey, this is my business, this is my product. We're like, any issues you contact me, like I'll show up. Like,
which is respectable because you want to make sure that the product that you're offering it actually exceeds it's over delivering, which is fantastic.
And that's what's been the case the last few years. We've been blessed that we do no advertising for new clients, and we just get referrals, and people call us all the time just from like, hey, like our pool struggled last year with the management company. Who do you use? Oh no, we use this company, no issues. Yeah, like, and so we just get organic people reaching out by no targeting ads, nothing like that. We do 0 advertising for new clients, and I would say we probably get 50 to 75 leads a summer, or maybe up to 100 leads a season, just organically from referrals.
Which ends up being like 20 pools, right?
Like
10, 15 pools.
Less than that. I mean,
like 3, 4 pools.
Because I don't want I turn down business.
Oh wow.
Because I don't want it. Because I don't want to compromise our service.
That's crazy.
And so that's the internal battle. Is like that's why I'm opposite of my father, because he was always like more. He would say yes to everything, and I was like, no.
Logistically, this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It's
like,
too far.
I don't want to compromise our product because we have a good product, and so I'd rather forgo the extra like clients and revenue
to
retain the existing clients, to keep this premium product, keep this natural. Like I think the best advertising is like word of mouth and referrals. And so until I feel comfortable enough where like, okay, we can double in size, like I'm just gonna keep status quo with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And I've been fortunate enough it's paid off.
Of course it has. I mean, you're delivering excellent service. So the existing clientele they don't see a drop off in performance and delivery of your product. So, but if you did go like the number route, just getting as much as possible, your attrition would be huge. Like you would lose so much.
It would be like
content.
it'd be like, okay, I lost 10 pools, but I picked up 15.
15, yeah. So
and
it's like, what's the point of that?
Yeah, and I
no real deep relationships, you know.
Yeah, and I personally, I like it. Like, I like that side. My team is amazing. Like, the people I work with, like, my employees are amazing, but also the people I get to interact with. Like, general managers, property managers, like, they're also, like, all great people. So it's cool. Like, I get almost kind of, it's like they choose me, but I get to choose them almost. Which is nice.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, especially early on, you don't have a choice. Like, you're just like, hey, I want you. Business, like all this. But I think when you're in a state where it's like, I'd rather have a client that I actually have a good relationship with. They're not going to like break my balls and like be annoying.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you could have one client that takes 80% of your energy.
Golly.
And that I saw that, like when I first came out with my dad, I saw like there was like 2 or 3 pools that took all of our energy.
You cut them off as soon as you.
And I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like, they're not even sometimes the worst part is those 2 or 3 pools. Sometimes they're probably like the least profitable.
Oh my goodness.
So that's what I saw. I was like, more is not better.
Yeah.
It's not.
So you cut those off as soon as you jumped on. You're like,
100%.
we made the business decision not to work with you anymore.
Yeah, it's like it just again, respectfully, it wasn't like anything. Like we finished out, but it didn't work out. So I think that's where early on you don't really have a choice when you start a business. Like, just more business. But then I think the problem is people don't look at their clients and realize like some clients might be taking so much energy, effort,
it's not worth even working.
Might be not paying you on time or not paying you at all.
It's not even worth working.
And you're just like you're stubborn. You're like I can't lose a client. But it's like that one client, like I said, it's could be taking 70% of time. Versus you have 10 clients that are only taking 10 or 20% of your time. And so you're saying that one client's worth 10 clients?
No.
Absolutely. So then focus on, kind of position and focus on those clients that are like, okay, they are good to work with, they pay on time, they do all those things, and focus your energy there. Again, but that's not early on.
It's hard to, because you're just thinking of staying afloat.
Once you're established, then you can make those choices.
Be selective with the type of business you do.
But my dad, for example, he didn't have that mindset because he started out, he just whatever he could get. And even 30 years into it, he still has that mindset.
That's crazy.
But then I told him, I talked him aside. I'm like, hey, like, look, it's not worth it. And then, like, again, he didn't believe. He's like, come on,
he just thought you were lazy or something or whatever. Yeah.
And I actually showed him the numbers, and then, again, it's hard because you only know one thing.
And he remembers when he first started off. When
he was just scrounging for anything to get.
Now he has like so many people there. Once like 75 to 100 leads.
Yeah. So it's crazy how that works, you know.
At the highest point, how many pools were you managing?
My dad at the height almost had 70 pools that he was managing, overseeing.
How many are you managing?
Right now, I think this summer is probably gonna be might be at 50 or under 50.
Wow, man, and it's just as profitable, if not more. It's more profitable than when he was managing 70 pools. That's crazy to think
It's less stressful.
Yeah.
More profitable.
Yeah.
Better like way of life. Like the clients are better. Like it's just more organized. Like it's from the 70 pool.
So what's the ideal number for you think?
Well, this is the interesting question because it becomes, do I want for just me or if I hire like a CEO and like have
snap.
So just me, the ideal like my bandwidth like 50 to 55 is as far as I go because I'm interacting with 55 GMs, property managers, and I really can't do more than that.
Golly.
So like, but if I have like someone who steps into like my role, like the CEO, or 2 CEOs, like something like that, I'm kind of like.
And they're similar that they can also take on 50-50.
It doesn't even have to be 50-50. That's the thing. I think people.
Like 50 new pools. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they don't even have be is like because that's something I realized is. You're looking for someone like you.
Yeah.
No one's ever gonna be like you because you're the owner of the business. No one's gonna have a mistake. But most people, if you get a competent person, they could do 70% of what you can. So if you have 2 people that could do 70% of your
they've already doubled
140%. 140%.
So what do you envision a CEO job to look like, and like what would you offer the CEO if you ever got to that point?
So the CEO kind of looked like my position in the sense of my position. Besides like the sales side, like I don't think I would have them focus. It'd be more just operations.
Okay.
So they would kind of just like manage like the managers, the lifeguards. They'd manage like interacting with the existing clientele, making sure all the pools, everything opens on time, like all the like kind of just what overseeing everything.
Yeah.
And then I would be focused more so on like the sales side, like going sales and I guess like retention. I would go stop in like throughout the summer, like stop in at one of our pool locations so I can general manager like, hey, how are things going? Like, how's the pool? Like, any issues? I try to be more proactive before it's like, okay, end of the summer, this was wrong, we didn't like this, all this, but like, hey, first week or halfway through the season, like, hey, how are things going? Like, any issues with our service, like the pool, my staff, and like, oh, actually, like, there's something with that. I can nip in the butt right there, and that'll help keep that retention.
And what would the CEO be doing on the off season?
I guess planning and organizing for the next season, like kind of doing what I do, like in the off season, like it'd be a lot less workload, be more focused on like renewals of like contracts, sending proposals for next year,
looking for accounts receivable maybe,
like still money coming in, like just trying to like retain that. Also, and then game planning how to make the next season better. Like, okay, like let's run this marketing campaign. I mean, I have like scholarships within like local high schools.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for like lifeguards, like different campaigns to recruit lifeguards or different ad campaigns to recruit new clients. You know, stuff like that, or projects like plaster project, renovation projects, stuff that's get done in the next season.
Inventory as well, I'm assuming.
So there is still
there's work to do all the time.
There's always something to do.
But like you said something super powerful. Like if you found two people that could do 70% of what you did, that's still 140% more effort.
Yeah, and I actually, again, I promoted 2 guys internally within my team, actually 3 guys, and I'm hoping I haven't made like.
What do you mean by promotion? Like,
I just like raised their title, gave them more responsibility, like in the business.
Did you increase their pay as well?
It has, yeah. It increases
like 10%. Like what? Like how do you gauge that? Just random or
not random, but like, I kind of go off like last year and like their performance and stuff, and like they've been steadily increasing, but like it also increased. And
that's
then
dope.
It like room for bonus too if like they do a good job. Like so like in their contract, like hey, if they do a great job, like there's an incentive at the end of the season for a bonus and stuff like that.
That's dope.
So like giving them like finding.
They're buying houses too. You just said one of your guys about to buy a house.
So I mean, these guys, and that's the cool thing is like, I'm the type of person like a lot of my guys also have their own businesses. Like they do like the backyard pools too. I'm not I want.
Yep.
I think a lot of people have a scarcity mindset around a lot of things. I don't.
You're like, as long as you're doing everything you need to do for me, go have at it.
I want I think if you go. You're doing my stuff, it gets done, go make your money. I want people, like, I think people are scared, like, oh, there's not enough pools, there's not enough this, like, I see
that's too many pools.
There's too many. It's just in New Jersey, there's too many pools.
Yeah.
So I don't have a scarcity mindset, and I think that also translates, and I choose people over profits.
And it's retention too, because so they're gonna stick with you.
Because like they see that, like, hey, I want them to do well. Like I'm creating new positions. Like, again, when I came on, like we never had people on salary. You know, it was just hourly. But I'm like, I saw value in my team, and I decided like these guys are worth it. And like I'm gonna lose them probably if I don't do something here.
100%.
And so I like my dad was very against it because he's like, what do you like? We can't afford it, or it's not like this. And I'm like, we're gonna lose these guys. Like these are good. These guys are assets. Like they're what we need. And like I can't do it alone.
100%.
Like my dad did it alone because he's a psycho.
Yeah, but it's like, you're like, I'm not gonna.
I don't want to do it alone.
It's still a lot right now, even though when you're not doing it alone, which is crazy to think about.
It's always going to be a lot, yeah. And like I don't know. Again, I want to have a life around it.
Yeah, you also want to be a very functional.
Yeah, I want to be able to like work out. I want to be able to like do this stuff, and then not just be one thing.
Apollo fuel. You want to do. You want to do other things. You don't want this to be your. You just don't want this to be your only thing, which is very smart of you.
Yeah.
Because now when you have other streams and other things, you don't get burnt out because you're doing things that you're passionate about. So.
100%. And like going back, I guess where we started, the stress thing is, I don't like yesterday, for example. I like when actually my friend Kevin came out. He's actually my new HR guy. He came out with me, and like me and him were just like we pulled covers.
Wow.
We went to like another pool, like we like put chemicals in, we did all that stuff, and like one person might view that as like stressful work. For me, it was like, okay, my phone wasn't ringing because it's the weekend, no property managers were calling me. I was outside. It was a beautiful day.
You were hanging out with your HR guy. That's crazy that your HR guy's out there like rolling up his sleeves.
Shout out Kevin.
How about that? That's amazing.
He wants to get, and that's the way I just texted before here. He wants to get into it. He wants to see the whole business. Wow. And so that's also someone who's like curious and like, and so like I'm like, hey, like come along. I have no problem. Like maybe down the line he could be something in business like more than that. So
and he helped out too. That shows that he's in. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not just sitting behind the desk. He rolled up his sleeves.
Yeah, and like for me that was enjoyable. Like,
of course it is, man. Because you would have been out there by yourself, right? So it's like you guys are talking.
Yeah, I have the speaker out. Like I'm bumping. Like it's nice weather. I'm like we're cracking jokes. Like we're dragging the cover. I'm like, come on. I'm like, it's like doing tire flips. Like it's fun. Like it's like it's just guys being dudes. Like doing man stuff.
That's amazing, man.
And so that's something I'm so blessed that into this season, like before it really started, I'm like, I'm gonna change the story.
Wow.
And so the story for
and it's happening.
I'm seeing it in real life, and I have a reminder like on my computer at home is like change the story. Pool season is stimulating. It's a way for me to grow. 100%. I get to be outside. I have amazing people 100%. Working for me. I get to spend time with them.
Time to test under the hood. It's track. It's like it's the racetrack. It's like. All right.
I gotta see my winter, like, and right now, if you had tested, like, okay, what'd you do in the gym over the winter?
Exactly.
You're doing some of these covers, you're doing like a 350, 400-pound deadlift to flip it over.
100%.
So, like, what'd you do during, are you pulling it, like, okay, like, you do those rows, boy? Or, like,
It's true, though. You're right. You're right.
And so, like,
it's the season. It's season.
Yeah, and, like,
Rather, war is good, too, but it's, like, it's still a season. It's like, yo, bro, this is your season. Like, this is the performance season. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's what people say, because I remember like vividly, like probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago, my buddy's place is like in the winter, and like I brought like just like he had pizza, but I brought like my own food. He's like, are you training for something? I'm like, I'm training for pool season, and so he thought I'm training for pool season, like laying out by the pool. I'm like, no, sir, like
to actually do this covers.
And my boyfriend's like, no, he's not talking about laying out by the pool. He's talking about like
setting up the pool, manually setting up the pool, to
lift like giant pool covers and like haul them and like flip them and drag them.
That's hilarious.
And so we have like power washers and like just be able to lift it up and down off the trucks, like carrying just like
I can imagine. Bro, I'm so tempted to go. I gotta figure out a day. I've never used a power washer before. I can just imagine how cool that is. Just like seeing the slime, just blasting it and just seeing it come off.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
Oh my goodness.
It's satisfying.
I can just imagine because it's just so powerful.
It's so powerful.
Is the water hot or?
No, it's hose water.
But it's so.
I mean, if you
hit your leg,
it slices you up.
Oh wow!
If it hits like your skin, like if you get close to it, it'll rip skin.
Wow!
It's strong. I mean, it's gas. It's powerful.
It's crazy.
It's got some horses.
It's crazy, man.
But like it's cool, and that's why I'm so lucky. I like this business in the sense that never bored.
Yeah.
And
you have to be present because you can get hurt, man.
Oh, I mean, that's something too. It's like you have to be physically strong.
Yeah.
But also like aware. You can't just like zone out. It's like if you're power washing or you're handling chemicals or, I mean, these dive tanks are like 12 feet deep, and like if you slip and you fall 12 feet, there's no water in it, or you fall into the murky green water. You don't want to do that either. So like it's
Gotta be. You never fell in though, right?
In the empty pool now.
Yeah.
Actually, last year, so actually with the pool I'm actually going to later today, if it was on videotape, this would have been hilarious. So it's a big pool. It was on my story yesterday. It was the pool that had the green water in it that was like drained halfway. So last year, where the pool was drained, thank God the water was clean. We power washed it, and but the dive tank filled up because it rained a lot. So I go down there on a rainy day. I'm by myself. I've like it's cold and rainy, like sweatpants, whatever. And there's pumps in the dive tank, but they like shut off or be readjusted. So the dive tank has like 3-4 feet of water. Thank God it's clear though, it's just like rainwater. So it's a dive tank, so it's like steep like this. Plus it's raining and it's a painted pool. So I'm like walking sideways down. I slip and it's like literally like a slide. I slide right into 4 feet of water, like just soaked.
And like, you finished the job.
Oh, I'm in it already, so I moved the pump or whatever, and that's all. I always have a change of clothes in my car. But like, I have this big red rain jacket on, sweatpants, whatever, and literally like no one's there. I'm by myself. I'm just like, literally like I looked out like a slip and slide. I was like, it just like whoop, and then even trying to get back up, like crawling
Yeah,
out.
because all the stuff you're wearing is not conducive for grip.
No.
Like the rain jacket is so slippery, so you're trying to get your.
But like again.
You didn't drink any water though, did you?
No.
Okay.
But the water was. That's what I'm saying. Thank God it was clear because we already drained it out and power washed it.
Imagine if it had like a dead raccoon in it.
If it was like what I saw yesterday, then I would have been bad.
How did that water get so dirty? There was a pool cover on it.
It's stagnant water. It sits all summer. It sits all winter.
So all the bacteria and everything.
All the bacteria, all that stuff. If you have stagnant water, you get. I mean, that's also why. And that's the winter, so it's not as bad. If that sat over the summer because of the algae and stuff, it would be like it would smell. It would be awful. So that's why stagnant water. That's why with pools you really can't leave them like over summer, even if they're covered.
Yeah. Because
mosquitoes and like algae, like animals, like all that stuff, and the heat.
So you've seen many animals under there before, right? So like what?
Possums, raccoons.
Squirrels.
Very sad. My dad actually one year a dog.
No way. Dog was under.
Yeah.
Was it like a lab or like a little dog? Oh snap.
Yeah.
So like wandered there.
It was actually during the season. It was during the season.
Wait, so
during the summer. It was
like the dog. So the pool was open.
The pool was actually uncovered and the dog got out and drowned. Yeah, couldn't get out.
Wild.
Because probably just got tired.
That's crazy.
So yeah, and that people don't realize like
that's wild.
It's like this part people aren't swimming.
I thought you were about to say a person. Like
Thank God, but like, and that's the thing too. Like my business is I need like good people that are like like on it and all that stuff because people don't realize it. Like swimming, whatever. It takes a second for a little kid to jump in. I mean, I've saved a lot of people myself. Like a little girl goes in or someone hits their head on a diving board or someone. Oh yeah.
You have to run and get them.
I was on stand when someone clocked their chin on a diving board.
Oh wow.
And I flew off stand. It happened twice actually. Just me lifeguarding.
And they were knocked out.
But again, I saw it right away. I jumped in, got out. I kind of you kind of supine their head to protect it because you don't know if they have spine damage.
Yeah.
They get the backboard. It's the whole thing.
That's
so that's the scary part. And again, it's another season. It's another stress.
So
that's a whole other stress.
Cleaning the pool, you also provide lifeguard service.
Our main service actually is management.
Yeah.
We supply lifeguards and managers. So this is one. Again, it's a phase. This is phase 1, opening the pools. Phase 2 is like getting the pools inspected. Phase 3 is managing, treating chemicals.
Then phase 4 is closing the
pools. Phase 5 is in the off season. Like that's how I actually broke it out into like different phases. But I'd say honestly the highest stress is the risk of someone getting hurt. That for me is the biggest stress that I have throughout the season. And the only thing that helps me is like make sure all my team is lifeguard certified, make sure our managers make sure kids aren't on the phone. I do every bi-weekly like training like throughout the season. They got training before, just keep it fresh. Let them know where the AED is, the emergency action plan. Like it's one of those things because
you don't want to slip.
You get that phone call.
Yeah.
And I've gotten those phone calls.
Wow. So and someone got hurt or
someone got hurt. Thank God that they were all right, but it's
very frightening.
From 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I don't relax.
Because people drink, right?
People drink. Again, you get a little girl or a little boy that goes in, they can't swim, they don't know, they hop in and they go right down.
Have you ever thought of that day doubling or tripling the lifeguards on staff?
Oh, I always make sure we have ample lifeguards. Yeah, no blind spots. I mean, we always, for most.
But it's still scary, man. It's like no matter how much cavalry.
It's a 15,
so much noise. There's so much noise.
There's noise, action, distractions, like
fireworks. Like there's so much stuff going
like
on.
Parties and stuff like 4th of July. So there's a lot of factors. But that's the best thing I could do is just make sure my managers are trained.
That's serious war right there. That right there is war. Like that's the Memorial Day. Now that you kind of speak on that, that's like a serious
4th of July, Labor Day.
Serious. Those days are like serious days of like, oh man, we made it through. All right, thank goodness.
Yeah, it's like Memorial Day weekend for Labor Day is the hardest one for us because although our lifeguards, the college kids go back, so we're super short staffed. So Labor Day is the hardest. I guess a holiday. People don't all work on holiday.
They don't.
So, I mean, it's always all hands on deck. And and for me, it's like, I mean, I'm challenging it still, but I have to kind of I've accepted. I think if you can't control it, it's better instead of fighting and let go. But I don't. My holidays aren't Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. Those aren't my holidays. I think, and I believe, and I have faith that they will be my holidays. Once I have the team, the people in place to handle it. But for right now, it isn't, and I'm accepting that. I'm not like, oh, I can't have Memorial Day, like I can't go down by the beach, I can't hang.
But you also have a season of life that a lot of people don't experience too. November,
Christmas,
December, January, November, December, January, February, right? So you have 4 months of the year,
where
almost every year that your workload drops down dramatically.
And I can make my own schedule.
And the weather is not good in the Northeast around that time, so you can go to places that are more tropical.
Yeah. So
there's always ways to
look at it. Yeah. And so and that's the thing. I'm like,
because if you set it up right, you can have. If you set the system in place, you can have 4-month sabbaticals every single year.
I could do it.
Once you have the system done, then it's just sabbaticals. 100%. If there's someone who's chasing down the account receivables, and doing all the inventory checks, you're just signing off and just making sure. You could be anywhere to figure that out. Oh, send me an email to see an update on that stuff.
Mm-hmm. But there is something also to be said. Again, just me, who I am, like going and like meeting with the client. Like when there's a new sale or existing client, like, hey, can we meet during the winter, go over it, or hey, like I'd like to meet in person. There's still that.
Of course.
There's still that.
And you should keep that. But maybe you do that in January or February. Just pre-schedule it, man.
Strategically. So like, hey, the whole month of January, February, and that's super realistic. And I have
even the whole month, maybe the whole half of the month of February. You just set up all your meet, just get them out. So then it's almost like a drive into the season too.
Yeah, that's what Costa Rica was. It was like a reset. Like I did work a little bit, but for the most part, that was like my reset. It's like, this is my final time to really
rest.
Yeah. And it was fantastic.
And bro, there's nothing wrong with taking a month or two and just focusing on just your health and wellness.
It's hard for me.
Like just training. No, like training. Like consistent. Like training consistently. And pushing yourself, getting a trainer and just being like, all right, I'm gonna get a trainer for this, and this. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna focus on getting really good at this, like getting really good at pickleball. I don't know, or squash tournaments. Just straight up.
I got a boxing trainer, like one-on-one boxing. Yeah, and I was doing that, but my calf from my bacteria infection was still bothering me. But I did that consistently for like 4 weeks, but then my calf
gave out on you. Did they figure out what caused it, what's going on there yet?
So I saw a specialist and. He thinks it's just residual inflammation from the bacteria. He thinks within scar tissue. He thinks hopefully within that, because they did a deep MRI.
Have you done any scar tissue massages and stuff like that?
I've gotten massages on it. I've got body ralphing on it, and that's helped. It's painful. It's gotten a lot better.
They use the tools and they just scrape you to the bone,
or they just get
your finger and just press so deep.
There was this one dude in Costa Rica actually. He was a former professional football player. He was a bodywork guy. Yeah. Great dude, amazing, but he was funny because he would be like, okay, he would the gun. He'd be like, okay, he'd be like, whatever, you get you're right here, to do the gun, and I'd be squirming. He's like, you're squirming already? I'm not even there yet. And you get my elbow into it yet. Meanwhile, this guy's 300 pounds, 6'6". He's a former lineman, and he gets in there. I'm squirming. He's breathe, but he's just joking around. But after. One of the best.
Of course, you feel great. You're loosened up.
Yeah, body work is actually. I wish he was around here because my dad needs it too. Because he did stretching.
Your dad probably. I could
he's a tin man
with the 30 years of just stress. He just
his hands just from 30 years of manual labor and
Dude.
But my dad, he's still got that old man strength though. He's still.
Does he work out again still?
He still works out, but not like he used to.
What's he do? What's his?
He does. I mean, he does circuits now, but he does he's a big bench press guy. He does. I told him to get pull ups.
Where's his bench at? Where's his bench at now?
He probably his max right now if he had to, or was he repping?
What's he repping?
He's probably he probably puts on for what? How many reps are we talking?
I don't know, more than 3.
Oh, he get 225 over.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
He probably still got 350 in him.
That's crazy.
Because he used to go over 400.
Is he your height or?
Yeah, well, he's shrunk a little bit now, but he was 6'2". My dad.
So he's your height now. So because you're 6'1".
I'm 6'2".
Oh, 6'2". Okay. So
yeah. He's probably 6 foot now.
Wow. So you're 2 inches taller than me then, right? Yeah. Because I'm 6 feet. Yeah. Or maybe I'm 6'1". I don't know.
But he's
so people really do shrink.
Well, you shrink if you don't, again, just a little bit of forward shoulder. That's why I tell them, you should do dead hangs, decompress your spine, do a lot more. You always do more rows than push-ups, because especially on the phone computer and ones like this, you want the shoulders back, face pulls are really good.
So he shrunk because his spine actually curved more.
Yeah.
So he kind of has a forward
But now, since I told him, it's tremendous, because he was like kind of like leaning like this, I'm like, my guy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was like, dude, like we gotta.
And he was just like okay with it.
I'm like, you're doing face pulls and
And it was happening gradually.
I saw it like within a year,
dude.
But I see now, since I told him that, it's easy to be able to correct it.
That's crazy
So,
that
like,
he was leaning.
He was leaning, yeah. I said face
I
pulls.
always used to wonder like why older people, like some people are literally bent over.
Yeah.
It's like bad. It's like life has bent them over, literally.
Yeah. So you got to be like, yeah.
Like proactive with that.
Yeah.
So like in terms of managing stress, like what have you been doing? What's been working? What's not working?
One thing that I've been more conscious of, and again, it's not even like doing something that has to be like an activity. It's just the mindset.
Okay.
Mindset shift of I get to do this.
Yeah.
Like I get to run this business. I get to work out. I get to podcast. I get to be alive.
Yeah.
Like I really should be alive.
Yeah.
So like again, shifting from I have to I get to, huge. And then the other mindset is like, okay, so the fog of pools and like the stress, all that, like everything's coming in. I have like 20 things I have to do that day, all that. It's having the power to step out of that and be okay with like, okay, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Like it's weird for me to say that.
But you are.
But I am. And it's like I forget that. So it's like I could step out for an hour, not answer anybody for 2 hours, and especially this time of year with no I could.
That'll be fine.
And like like
the world is not going to end. The business is not going to crumble.
So like I guess for me is like maybe taking 10 minutes and stepping out of that, and maybe I don't know, like putting on meditative music, my phone on airplane mode, or just like sitting in silence. It's like
very important for you to disengage consistently.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you are in control.
Mm-hmm.
But if you allow it to just shift you and shake you all the time
and just be like reactive,
you are not in control of anything.
And
it's in control of you.
And that was so much
the
of
business
my life.
owns you at that point.
That was the last 5 years. So like being able to step out of it, like and that's the most challenging once the busiest is like, you know what, it's okay. We can step out of it. Or even like I'm driving and like I call this person, whatever. And it's like,
no,
take a step back.
Yeah.
Look at the sky, open the window, play some relaxed like music, and just you're here, you're alive.
Do you know how savage it is to step out and then step back in? Because that's just like it's
so simple, but it's so hard. But if you could do that,
and some people step out and never come back, right? Some people don't step out at all. But to step out and then come back in and attack that is just legendary.
And that's something that I've been
top level.
I've been working on, and I'm proud of myself. Because I think it was last Monday or Tuesday, I worked out in the morning, and like I had like a call like while I was working out, and like I was starting to get like super stressed, and I thought it wasn't that much stuff to do, and like a couple things to do, and I was like getting all worked up. I'm like, we're just gonna put my phone in airplane mode.
Yeah, bro.
We're just gonna lay down for 10 minutes.
100%, bro.
And like old me would be like, we gotta go.
No, bro, just put it down, and then when you came back to it, you're like, fresh mindset.
Fresh mindset. I was like.
Because if you allow that hamster wheel to start spinning, you're screwed. Because that whole day, like, is just...
It was ruined. And, like, it could carry over to the next day.
That's legendary that you were just like, all right, zoop.
I'm just gonna step out.
I'm just gonna lay down here and just be still.
And I'm like, I would never do that in the past, but I've been challenging that.
That's fit. That's phenomenal.
And I think
that's serious growth right there, if you really consider.
It's crazy.
Because it's like, you're, like, that is completely against your instinct or
everything.
Yeah, you're just like
everything I was taught, everything I saw. It was just like.
But that's the only way to tackle this situation. Ironically,
the best way to.
Yeah.
With a clear, calm mind. And the other thing too is realizing it all matters, but it really doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like and I think having that framework, that mindset of like, okay, yeah, it matters that this pool gets done, all that, but at the end of the day, like, besides the safety standpoint.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's a luxury service.
And you talk about exactly 100%.
Like this pool doesn't open, the world's not gonna end.
Exactly. It's like it will open tomorrow or by the end of the week. Or even when you consider war, right? It's like, well, let's say this was a war, right? And the commander, they're flanking us from the left. Oh, send all the artillery to the left. Now you just completely opened up your right. So it's like, if you attack something emotionally, you invest so much energy into that if something else comes abruptly,
you're thrown off.
But you taking that 10 minutes out, you've taken the emotion out of it, and then you come back into it. So if something else happens, you can roll with the punches.
And make a better conscious decision.
100%.
And this is going to be, I think, is what's going to be crucial for me is being able to step out of that when I do have a relationship or have a family.
Of course.
That is where doing it now is going to be
amazing.
That's going to make that, because going back to your war scenario, if like, okay, I'm getting attacked by the pools, and then my kid is crying, and then the world's over. You know, I'm like freaking out, I'm like super like anxious, but okay, I'm being attacked by the pools.
All right.
I step out for 10 minutes. Okay, reevaluate. Okay, like I'm gonna handle this. Okay, wife and kid are pissed. It's okay. You know, versus if I'm already thrown off from the pools and I let that get to me, then the littlest, slightest thing.
Which is what we were talking about. Like you mentioned, there's certain men that like manifested in relationships, just always angry or pent up and stuff like that, and it's because they're taking out the stress of the pool on the family. Which is not conducive to a good marriage. Which is not conducive.
And I don't want to be that guy.
Exactly.
And that's why I have to make the conscious decision
now. So that it becomes a habit too.
This is who I am. I'm not
susceptible to my emotions.
Yep. I feel them, and I think in the past I didn't feel them, which isn't good.
Yep.
But I feel them, but I'm not letting them dictate my actions.
And they're not steering you.
No. It's like, because honestly, for a while I didn't want to feel them, so like I felt them and they were awful, so like we're not feeling, but like I'm gonna feel them, but I'm not gonna let them like control like me being emotional.
You're not a puppet to your emotions.
100%. Let them come, let surpass. Like if I'm angry, okay, feel it, be angry, go punch a bag. Like,
and then literally be like, all right, you know what? What's the big deal? That was nothing. And then just move on.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It matters, but it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
It's a crazy thing to think about. Cause like, and that's something
You're almost getting to where I'm at, man.
It's the guy posed a question. He was on the Jay Shetty podcast. The guy who's the mindset mentor. He's like, yeah, we talked about the thing like how it all matters, but it all doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because in 3 generations, no one's gonna remember me.
That's what I'm trying to say, dude.
No one's gonna remember the haters. No one's gonna remember that like you wronged them. And so,
but just understanding, it's a paradox.
It's a paradox. It's like, yes, you gotta do things that you don't want to do, and you gotta still show up and do stuff. But it's not the end of the world.
It really isn't, man.
No.
It really isn't.
Just make the next best move.
And it's like, if a lot of people could just see things in that light, I feel like there would be a lot less.
A weight lifted off.
There'll be a lot less weight on people's back. There'd be a lot less episodes of extreme outbursts because people would just take things as they are, rather
I don't think it's the end of the world.
100%.
Because I know people that the littlest thing is the end of the world.
They're in line at Starbucks and there's 2 people ahead of them. Oh, they are manifesting.
Or they got oat milk instead of almond milk in their latte. Goodness. It's over. They put oat milk in my latte. I asked for almond milk. This incompetent person versus me. I'm like, that doesn't matter.
The whole day.
This poor person behind like the counter. Like, you think they wanted? They purposely like, oh, I'm gonna get to this person.
Yeah, I'm gonna screw them over. Yeah, and then it's like you may have said oat milk by mistake.
But it's also, I guess, and that's what comes down to the stress thing. I think the upper echelons of any success hierarchy.
Yes.
Like anybody at the top level of any pinnacle of like athletics, any realm.
Yep.
Father, the top level, the best people. They could handle the most stress.
100%.
Because if you can't handle stress, you
there's no way you can make it up there.
No,
there's no way.
So that's something. So like the upper, like the executives, the business owners, the top athletes, the best like parent, the best people,
anything.
They handle stress
very well.
They don't let like one little thing or stuff bother them.
And I would even say their perspective towards stress is different.
Mm-hmm. And that's something, again, changing perspective around pools and stuff is like just changing that story. It's like, yeah. Like being busy, like all that. Like some people might view my schedule as like asinine. Like what are you talking about? Like aren't you tired? Like whatever. And like I like it. This is fun. Like I get work outside. I'm hanging with my boys. Like my flipping covers. Like this is cool. Like what do you mean you're not like going out whatever? Like I know I got like 2 to 3 hours of office work I have to do. Like
that whole going out culture. Like I never it's like
even
in college.
I think it's St. Patty's Day today.
Yeah,
that's like the last thing I'd want to do is go get drunk.
I never really like got around with all this because it's like it just sets you back, man. It sets you back, and then another thing I was gonna say about successful people, they also create infrastructure around them. So there's there's also good support group. So like these successful people, they talk about their team. It could be their partner, their trainers, like they have a team around them, or their camp. Like literally, it's like literally your coach predestined to be successful.
All that.
And then they tell you when it's real, like, oh, dude, you're going off mark. Like you need to
in a good way, like hey, like you gotta
course correct,
you gotta like step it up, like you gotta like stop doing
which
that.
I see you're doing in your life in general. Like
I'm trying.
You're really trying to surround yourself, create a good camp, good counsel, because among having good counsel assist you in making more decisions. Because I feel like as human beings, a lot of the issues we face and problems are things that we self-inflict. So it's like if you can reduce the amount of, I forgot what the word it is, self-sabotage, you actually be better off in the long run. Because there's things that actually do matter in your life. You don't want to have your case to be that you got carried away with things that are of not as much significance. And the time that you collect yourself, you're like, wow, like I should have paid more attention to this aspect of my life. But the more support you surround yourself with, the less likely that's going to be your story.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think it's very conscious of like who you surround yourself with, in a sense of like you're surrounding yourself with people that are just like taking your energy, or just always negative, and like the dark cloud. Like if they're just dragging you out of it, like you're saying like you could have that ice cream. Why don't you eat ice cream? Or why do you work out all the time?
Or why are you not out drinking with us?
Or why are you working today? Like if because they question what you do. And that's just not, again, everyone
teach their own.
Like I think if you're happy enjoying your life,
of course, continue to
do your thing.
Continue to do it.
But for me, it's I have my I like my style. Like I
purpose-driven life is very important, man. Like when a man has a purpose or when a woman has a purpose, it definitely does give it seasons life, because life in and of itself comes with twists and turns.
Oh, life is
true. But when you have purpose,
get through it.
There's something to get through. Like it's like, oh no, the reason why I'm having this hurdle because I'm actually working towards something. Mm-hmm. Like there's resistance in my life because I'm trying to do something that I've either never done or I've visualized in my life, and I'm trying to make that into to fruition. I'm trying to make that thing happen. So like, having resistance and roadblocks are actually a blessing, because it's like, wow, exactly, you're progressing. Yeah, it's very interesting.
But again, it's the mindset around
it. It really is the mindset.
For example, like somebody might okay, you're trying to better your health, or you're trying to better your business, or you're trying to start a business,
or even rest.
You're trying to rest.
Resting is hard. Like to be like, all right, in this season in my life, I'm going to rest.
That's my struggle.
That's very difficult. That is very difficult for someone who's type A. It's very, because we always want to do something. It's like, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this, gotta do that, and it's like rest. Rest.
And in this culture, it's like a dirty word. It's rest. What do you mean rest?
Yeah.
You're not working.
And then enter drugs. It's like
there's people that can't rest.
Marijuana.
So they use alcohol or drugs to sedate them.
Yeah.
Because they can't just manage.
Which is so toxic. Or cigarettes. So it's like, oh, I'm stressed out. Rip a heater. It's like, bro, that's like, it's very interesting how these things are kind of muddled together. But it's like, no, like, address the problem head on. It's like, you're stressed because your workload or your organization or what you decide to do in life that's what it demands of you. So now how can you structure your controllables to manage that stress in such a way that it's not an endless cycle and you're getting worse and worse every year? There's some people you see from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, you just see them progressively dying more and more and more and more and more. And it's like, your life doesn't have to be that difficult for yourself. And part of that, I always ask people too, is like, what is it that you truly are passionate about, and why are you not doing that and giving that up for what is actually killing you? Because like, I think ambition can be dangerous, but purpose and ambition are two different things. Because ambition has kind of like an annotation of like, at any means I'll get this done, even if it means hurting someone or getting over on someone. While purpose is like, oh no, this makes sense. Like, I wake up in the morning, I'm very thankful to be alive. Like, this is my purpose. Like, this is what I was put on earth to do. Like, I feel like those things are two different things, but people who don't take that, I think stress becomes a factor when I think your life is either too much ambition or not enough purpose, or no general
direction,
stress becomes a factor. But when you're living a purpose-driven life, I find it very difficult for you to have stress because like your purpose, like you even feel as you're doing your purpose that, oh snap, like this the key fits in the lock. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, you know what I mean? So it's very hard to be overwhelmed with stress. But now when you're living a life that is not in line with your purpose, or you don't even know what your purpose is, I think that's where a lot of frustration and stress comes in. Anxiety, worry, fear, because it's fake. You've created this identity of yourself
that your parents, society, whatever
that's instilled into you. Yep. And it's not complying because you either got a taste or you saw someone who's doing something that you actually want to do. It shakes you up a bit.
Mm-hmm. I think people don't realize like you only get one go at this.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and people can blame the cards, the hand you've been dealt.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like this is it, this is how it is, or you just be like, hey, I got one life. I'm gonna do the best I can with what I've been dealt with.
Yeah.
And I think once you realize, like, you only get one shot at this.
Yeah, you're only on Earth once, man.
And it's sad, but I think a lot of people, like, even people in their 20s or early 30s, like, they're like, I'm just cruising, doing this thing till I get 60 and then I can retire.
Ha.
You know? And that's the sad part, because people don't realize, like, one, you might not even make it to 60.
Yeah.
Two, when you're 60, you don't have the like,
movement,
the energy,
youth, the vitality, yeah.
You know, like, and if that's what we want to do, that's good for them. But
yeah,
I think in today's day and age, we're so blessed that we know, just with all the knowledge out there, like all the wisdom, like the Stoics, like if there's more to life.
Yeah,
and like you gotta just.
I also think simplicity is like the equation of escaping success, right? So I look at my life and I'm like, all right, so I got a pretty good job after college. I was making good money. I was successful in my own rights, like compared to like my parents or whatever, or whatever. I don't care. But now it's like, all right, what's next? Well, start a family. And I think what's so organic about that, having a child, is that it literally teaches you like where you came from. So it's like there's a certain point in my life, before the mortgage, before all this stuff, that someone was just wiping my behind. I literally would soil myself and I could do nothing, right, about it. I had to bring someone's attention. I couldn't even talk. The only things I had were my tears and crying, right? And that was the only way I could communicate. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And then the next stage of my life is like I was moving around, but I didn't understand what was safe and not safe. Put my hand in outlets, anything. Like, did not understand. But even within that, at that age, I still knew danger. Like little kids, when they see something is high, they're not gonna jump off of that. Like in that second phase. It's the third phase that they get a little daring and stuff like that. But I feel like I say all that to say that life, like I feel like God did everything perfect in that. Like even in the expression of a child, like having offspring, you can literally see the paradox of life, and you can get more. Like you can go back and be like, oh snap, like why am I freaking out over it? Like this child does not have any conception of all these things that are of importance to adults. And yes, you can say they're naive and things like that, but how can I structure my life to be closer to that of a child? That my needs are met. Like, I mean, like, you know, my needs are met. I'm not caring for nothing. You know, if someone offended me right now, like, at that very moment, that's my ought. But in the second moment, I've forgotten about it because it's not that serious. Because a child, you can literally offend them, but, like, moments later, they're, oh my goodness, this toy is amazing! Like, there's no thought of that.
They're fully there.
Yeah.
They're in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think
so it teaches you a lot, man.
So
it teaches you a lot.
Like, we're so far
and you see in the U.S., man, people our age have been having kids a lot later, if any at all. Could you imagine, like,
I think it's
how much you miss out on an experience if you don't, like you physically are capable of having offspring, but you decide not to because it makes you, it actually dehumanizes you because you don't experience the human experience. I hate to say that, but so you were given a stat about 30%?
No, I think recent document that like the first time ever, I think 50% of women in their 30-year-old women don't have kids. Like there's 50% of 30-year-old women don't have children.
Wow.
And I think in the U.S. or I think
that's absurd.
Like first time ever, and it's only increasing.
Absurd, dude.
Again, it's just sad because I think
America's a great country too. If we don't populate ourselves, it's the only option is for immigration to increase our population, or we're just going to be second because these other countries that are right behind us, they're going to overpopulate us. Infrastructure, economy just gets better with more populace, and we just become second-tier country, which is something I don't want to happen. You know?
And I think the other issue is why people aren't having kids. My personal viewpoint is because of the responsibility.
Oh,
they're afraid of responsibility.
Interesting.
Because people, there's nothing wrong with this. But people like, I don't want a car. I'm just gonna use whatever. I don't want a house. I'm just gonna rent. Yes. I don't want
so sad.
I just want to rent or lease or whatever. I don't want to own anything.
I don't want to change a light bulb.
No, I'll hire somebody. I want to live in a place where everything is done for me.
Wow.
So they want no responsibility. Well, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum because I realize, yes, responsibility is hard. Yes, responsibility is a lot of work, but it gives you purpose.
Yeah.
It gives your life meaning and purpose. And that's where, for myself, I know that the things that take the most responsibility also give me the most purpose and meaning. That no matter what happens in my life, I have to show up and do the hard thing. Because I have the responsibility of people relying on me.
Yeah.
And there's no greater responsibility than having children.
100%.
Because you have a conscious being for a couple
of
years that can't do anything without your help.
Without your help.
And that's the greatest responsibility. And I think people are afraid of that responsibility. But as you probably see, it gives you the most purpose and meaning in your life that you ever had in your life.
100%.
And I think that'll get you, and that's where it's a tough because no one wants responsibility, but they're lacking purpose, drive, and meaning. But if they adopted more responsibility, it's harder, more work, then there'll be more purposeful, meaningful life.
And then ironically, you realize how much you haven't really changed. Because all right, so my whole digestive system working, right? Yes, I can eat good foods and all that stuff, but it's because God created me with a good digestive tract. Mm-hmm. So it's even in my self-reliance or independence, I'm still in total need because you hear stories of people having pull-ups in their stomach or things like that. Ironically, even in what I feel like I'm in fully self-reliant, I'm still in full dependency to the big guy up there. And I feel like that also is part of the paradox of children. When I look at it kind of stepping away, which I think is super interesting. Because I think in addition to our higher levels of lack of responsibility and laziness in our generation, there's also a high level of atheism and non-belief in God. There's this one guy that I was looking at online, I don't remember his name, but he said something that was so profound. He was like, I don't have as much faith as an atheist. Because the atheist is believes so strongly that there is no God. So he's like, I don't have as much faith as an atheist. And I was like, yo, that's crazy.
That's deep.
That's deep when you think about that. So with that being said, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, just glad to see you. It's another beautiful day
out there. I
love
you very much.
I love you too.
I love you very much.
I'm glad we're doing this thing.
And the crazy thing is there's people who ask in my friend group, hey man, how's the podcast going? And it was funny because yesterday I was like, oh, we just filmed the 16th episode. And it's this is just March. And it's this is something they're asking me about it because it's something I talked about last year. Mm-hmm. And they just want to check in, hey,
how's it still going?
How's it going? It's yeah, we're 16 in. We're closer to 100. We're closer to 50. We're closer to more closer to 50 episodes than 0. Because it's every week.
Not yet, but I know you're saying.
You know what I mean. We're closer to.
But I think after most podcasts, after 5 episodes, they 80% stop or something. Wow. So I'm not stopping. You're not stopping.
I'm not, man. Every day, no matter how busy our week could be, I just be hey man, what time are we meeting on Sunday?
Sunday. It's not. We find a day to make it.
Of course, and it's the consistency, right? So it's and this is very important to both of us. Mm-hmm. Hey man, we're not only doing this for ourselves, but we understand that there's people out there that can listen to these conversations and they have a lot of value from it because we're just being very raw and real.
What we've learned, I'm a continual work in progress. I got a lot of stuff I'm only involved
in. We're being upgraded.
Yeah, and this is, I think, again, keeping, myself, I believe you feel the same, accountable and realizing, okay, what can I give to the episode or show up for? Like, what am I working on? Like, what am I like consciously working on? What am I reading? What's like updating my life or work or relationships? Like, what am I trying to improve? And I know for myself, I feel the most fulfillment and like joy and happiness in my life when I'm progressing.
100%.
And so that's where like it's cool to share. Like, hey, I'm working on my mindset hard.
Which is amazing. You said you took 10 minutes away in the heat of battle. You're just like, oh snap! Like, all right,
I gotta step away. I felt myself like all like jacked up, anxious. And
which means you were aware. You were aware. You were present.
So I'm like, we gotta step out of this.
we gotta.
And just
Tom. Tom, you still there?
Tom left the building before that.
He left the group chat.
Yeah, I left the
call. Went airplane mode.
Airplane mode. Like, yeah. Before I took that 10 minutes, I was not here.
Wow.
But I was like, I don't like this person right now. Like, not that I don't like this person, but like,
of course, this is not who I am. This is not who I set the standard to be. This is actually a facade, or this is a character trying to manifest.
This doesn't match with my current identity.
100%.
So it's a beautiful thing. Thank you all for tuning in. AD, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Tom. Love you too, brother. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
And gals. That was super fun.
I love it.